Hi, I'm Stephen Ducey, and this is a crisis communications case study for Southwest Airlines IT failure in 2016. In this presentation, we will cover a brief intro into Southwest Airlines, providing some perspective on the severity of this crisis. Then we'll go into talking about the 2016 IT failure for Southwest Airlines, who this affected, how they handled it, and then we'll move on to recommendations on what could have been done differently and a new strategy based off of those recommendations. Southwest Airlines was founded in 1967 out of Texas by Herb Keller and Rollin King. They are known for providing their customers with cheap domestic flights across the United States. To put in more perspective how severe the crisis was, that's going to be explained in the upcoming slides, according to SWA Media, Southwest Airlines in 2019 operated more than 4,000 flights a day during peak travel season. On Wednesday, July 20th, 2016, Southwest Airlines experienced a technology failure that affected their website and other key systems, such as kiosks in the airports. Their systems were down for approximately 13 hours, and according to PR Week Global, up to 700 Southwest Airline flights were canceled or delayed on that Wednesday, accounting for about 20% of their daily flights. That number jumped to canceling more than 2,000 flights throughout the week until eventually the system started to normalize and flights were going again. Travelers and customers were the stakeholders that were affected the most during this. Many had prior obligations, such as business meetings, job interviews, people visiting family, people going on vacation, and with the system going down and their flights getting delayed or canceled, many became frustrated and showed that emotion and frustration on social media and to the employees, where they even requested refunds. Then that leads into Southwest Airlines themselves. The CEO, the employees, customer service department, IT department, these people dealt with this directly. They had to assure the customers they were doing everything in their power, apologize, be sympathetic, humanize with these people, and accommodate them the best that they could by even giving full refunds, setting people up with new flights. A third group that was affected were the investors. According to PR Week Global, Southwest stock dropped 9% Thursday morning after the system went down. Once Southwest Airlines became aware of this situation and the severity of it, they began to monitor and measure communications, providing their leadership with reports on the situation. They then implemented potential operational problems, POPs, where they implemented 17 calls to be exact. These were created from reviewing crisis management plans that they created in the event of a crisis, and they're there to help communicate to teams and inform them on what the communication is, as well as where the next steps will be. The overall strategy during this was to keep the employees, customers, and the media informed regularly and in a timely manner, as well as their social media platforms. Many of these customers and travelers that were affected by this crisis showed a lot of their frustration on social media, asking questions, wanting answers, where Southwest Airlines was actively responding to these customers as quickly as possible on multiple different social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. CCO Linda Rutherford had a Facebook Live addressing the public with updates and answering questions, truly humanizing and understanding the frustration and disappointment of these customers. They also put out a formal apology as well as updates across most of their social media platforms, reassuring and accommodating these customers to the best of their ability. Some problems during this crisis was planning and preparing can only go so far. They had many plans in place for multiple different crises, but you never know what the actual crisis is going to be until it actually happens. Linda Rutherford wrote it right when she put in a snippet from Dallas Morning News where they stated that this was an unprecedented in the American aviation. This was something that hadn't happened before to the severity that it did. This created heavy attention on many social media sites and various news outlets across the nation, to the point where it almost seemed as if they were overwhelmed with the amount of customers that were reaching out across multiple platforms. Their customer relations fielded almost 55,000 plus emails and phone calls during this, and the brand monitor survey showed that the brand commitment took a hit during this outage. Another problem was they only focused on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and the Southwest community. They did not monitor or respond to what was being posted or said on Instagram. Looking at some recommendations for how Southwest handled the situation, what they could do different. Creating more planning and situational pieces focused around social media, ensuring that their employees are prepared for a crisis like this is important. They did a lot of planning for multiple different crises and had a lot of POPs ready for a crisis like this. That is why they were able to get through this in a well-fashioned manner and handle it in a decent way. It is important that they respond to the crisis quickly and make sure that internal and external parties are on the same page. It's important that they control the narrative while keeping in mind the business and communication objectives they created, and they don't let the media and the customers control the narrative of what is happening. As Wayne Pines wrote in his article where he talked about fast responses, he said, even if a statement is issued hours later, the damage has been done, and subsequent stories never catch the original. If the news runs with something and Southwest isn't saying something, it's going to be very hard for them to change that narrative back in their favor. It's also important to have plans that are focused around monitoring and measuring about this Southwest airline brand itself. They should be monitoring mentions across all platforms and measure the impact this is having on the situation. It's also important to have a consistent message across all social media platforms. Sympathize, humanize with these customers, be transparent while also being apologetic and as accommodating as you can. All platforms should be monitored and utilized as a place for customers to have customer service during a crisis like this. In this case, Southwest Airlines overlooked Instagram and did not use this to inform customers or respond to customers during a crisis, which cannot happen. Looking at a new strategy based on the recommendations of this situation, first, leadership of all departments at Southwest Airlines should create broad plans based on past issues and crises in the airline industry to ensure that all areas are prepared for a crisis if it happens. Second, create an internal PR strategy that aligns with the vision, mission, and goals that Southwest set for themselves and send it throughout all internal channels. Third, monitor the Southwest airline brand and industry, looking at social media mentions specific to the brand and travel. This will help stay ahead of potential crises and be prepared. Four would be to be prepared with responses to customers and public during a crisis. Make sure that everyone is on the same page and aligned with the values and mission of the company. Five would be to respond to customers, especially negative inquiries. Listen to the customers, humanize, and assure them that every effort is being made to fix the problem and make them feel heard. Six would be to be ready to draft a press release on the situation to be distributed out to blogs, PR wire services, and news outlets. Below are the references that I used throughout this presentation. Thank you.